There are rulers who command obedience, and there are those who demand fear. Dirce chose fear. She sat on the throne of Thebes, not as a protector, but as something colder, something sharper. A queen who did not simply punish disobedience, she hunted it. And in her court, mercy was not weakness, it was a crime. Dirce was not born into power, she became it. She rose beside Lycus, the king of Thebes, not by softness or grace, but by will. Where others hesitated, she acted. Where others forgave, she remembered. And where others ruled, she tightened her grip. But power once tasted does something irreversible. It teaches you that control can be absolute, and Dirce believed it. There was one woman she could not control, Antiope. Once close to the royal household, Antiope carried something Dirce could not tolerate, a past that refused to stay buried. A living reminder that not everything could be bent, broken, or erased. So Dirce made a decision. If something cannot be controlled, it must be crushed. Antiope was hunted down, dragged back, broken, not executed. No, that would have been mercy. Dirce wanted something slower, something that would last. She chained Antiope like an animal, stripped her of dignity, of voice, of identity. And for years, Antiope suffered while Dirce ruled. Thebes did not question her. Not because they believed in her, but because they feared her. And fear, when it spreads deep enough, begins to feel like silence. Dirce mistook that silence for loyalty. But far from the palace, far from the chains, something had already begun to grow. Two sons, Amphion and Zethus, born in secret, raised away from power, untouched by the fear that ruled Thebes, but not untouched by truth. Because truth has a way of finding its way back. And when it does, it doesn't ask permission. They learned what had been done, not rumors, not whispers, the truth. Their mother had been hunted, broken, humiliated for the sake of a queen's cruelty. And something ancient stirred inside them. Not ambition, not power, but something far more dangerous, justice. They came for Thebes, not as rebels, not as conquerors, but as inevitability. Dirce did not see it at first. Why would she? She had crushed every threat before it could rise. That was her rule. That was her certainty. But certainty has a weakness. It blinds you to what refuses to stay buried. They entered her world the way truth always does. Suddenly, violently, unstoppable. There was no long war, no drawn-out battle, just a reckoning. Swift, precise, final. Dirce, the queen who ruled with cruelty, was no longer in control. For the first time, she stood not above suffering, but inside it. She was seized, not by enemies, but by consequences. The method was not chosen at random. It was not quick, it was not merciful. It was fitting. A wild bull, unforgiving, unstoppable, blind in its force. She was bound to it, helpless. As it surged forward, the ground tore at her. The world blurred. Power meant nothing. Her voice meant nothing. Her throne meant nothing. Because in the end, she was not facing rebels. She was facing everything she had done. And cruelty, when left to grow unchecked, does not fade. It returns, stronger, closer, more personal. Dirce ruled with cruelty. She believed it made her untouchable. She believed fear would protect her. She believed silence meant safety. She was wrong, because cruelty does not disappear. It waits, it remembers, and one day, it comes back. And when it does, it doesn't knock, it devours.